In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Moto G 2025 edition. Stay tuned. Alright everyone, hopefully you guys are having a good day. Hopefully everyone is safe out there. We have the brand new Moto G 2025 edition in hand from Motorola right here. Now this just released on Amazon and of course Motorola.com for $199 in the United States of America. So this is in direct competition with the brand new Galaxy A16 5G that just released this month. So of course we're going to be putting these devices head to head, but we're going to go ahead and talk about this device in this video. So first and foremost, we have 128 gigabytes of internal storage. We have 4 gigabytes of RAM inside of here. We have stereo speakers on this device. We have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, which is something that we don't get anymore on Samsung devices, so I'm happy to see this in here. We have a 120 hertz refresh rate on this device. However, this is going to be an IPS LCD display, so not an AMOLED display. So I don't think this is going to be the best display in the world, and this is obviously not going to be a better display than the Galaxy A16 5G. We do have Corning Gorilla Glass 5 on this, Android 15 on this device, and for our chipset, we have the MediaTek Dimensity 6300 inside of here. So this is a newer processor. It's about a year and a few months old, so it's definitely newer than the 1330 we got on the A16 5G. However, it's pretty matched and maybe a little bit less powerful than the Exynos 1330. Alright guys, so we have the phone on the top right here. Of course, we're going to open this up last right there. Next up, we have our USB Type-C to Type-C data cable inside. We have our SIM ejector tool inside as well. And we have our legal and safety information as well as our quick start guide. Alright, let's go ahead and show this beautiful phone off right here. This is going to be using that vegan leather design on the back. I believe this is going to come in 2 different colors. So of course right here we have that gray color, and I think we may have a green color as well if I'm not mistaken. Right side of the phone we have our power key, and that's actually going to double as your fingerprint sensor. Just above that we have our volume up and down rocker. Top of the phone we have our noise canceling mic. Left side of the phone we have our shared micro SD card and SIM card slot right here, so we can expand storage via micro SD card. And of course at the bottom of the phone, this is where most of the stuff happens, we have one of the 2 speakers we have on this device. We have a USB Type-C port right there. To the left of that we have another noise canceling mic, and of course we have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack in 2025. Can't believe I'm saying that. Awesome to see though. Now of course a lot is happening on the back right here, and I really do like the look of this phone. I think it looks really nice, especially the material on this, that vegan leather or pleather a lot of people like to call it. Feels very nice. I really do like this. This is very classy. There's not too many emblems on here other than the Motorola emblem right there, which looks really nice with that silver accent. I'm really digging this. And if we go up here, we see the camera modules, and the main camera on here is going to be a 50 megapixel wide angle camera, and our secondary is going to be a 2 megapixel macro. This is going to be capable of full HD recording on this, and of course we're going to test that out later on. We also have a front facing camera, as you guys are going to see in a second right there, and this is going to be our hole punch camera, and this is going to offer you a 16 megapixel shooter. So we're going to go through the phone, take a look at it, and clean all this stuff up. Alright guys, so we have our phone set up right here. We have a fairly quick fingerprint sensor right here. Also, something that I noticed is the haptic feedback is actually pretty decent on here, but as far as the viewing angles on this, they're not the most amazing in the world, but the screen is passable for this price tag. It is not going to be better than the Galaxy A16 5G, however. That has an AMOLED display. This is only LCD. The great thing about this though is if you go into the settings and you go to display, you guys can actually turn on the display refresh rate to 120 hertz. By default, it's going to be on auto, so it's going to give you some smart optimization right there for battery life, but it is very smooth and fluid going through everything. So there's not going to be any issues with that. Great to see the 120 hertz refresh rate. However, I would have liked that AMOLED display on here instead of that LCD, but we can't get everything in the world for $200 price tag right here. Going down to the drop down bar menu, of course, we have our Wi-Fi, we have our SIM card, we have our Bluetooth. We're going to go ahead and turn on auto rotate. We have our device control system, Moto Unplugged. We have, of course, our wallet right here. We can add our credit cards and stuff inside of there. Our flashlight, hotspot, native screenshot right there. We have our cast, NFC on here for Google Pay, which is beautiful to see. And we have our Dolby Atmos smart audio on here. So we have everything that we need on this device. You guys can also use buttons instead of the swipe navigation system if you guys want to go ahead and set that up in the settings. But everything looks decent so far. Obviously, this is going to be your stock Android setup. Motorola doesn't really have too heavy of a skin on their devices. It essentially looks like a Google phone. So really not anything crazy on this. Very, very light skin on here. Vanilla Android experience. As for the update policy, I'm not 100% sure yet, and Motorola isn't really the best at that, but I'm hoping that it's at least 2 to 3 years on this device. But if you guys have that information, let me know in the comment section down below. But the thing I do want to do is go ahead and take a look at the camera, take a look at the speakers, and take a look at the video on this device, and call it a day. All right, guys, let's go ahead and test out the camera really quick. And again, we are going to put the A16 5G head-to-head with this device, but this is not looking too bad so far. This has some very, very color accurate colors right here. So it's a pretty good representation of what you actually see in real life. So yeah, we get a decent photo right there, a pretty quick shutter speed, some great clarity. Let's go ahead and test out our portrait mode as well. Okay, not the greatest in the world. I just totally cut out that bottle cap right there. Anyway, going to night vision, we have that inside of here. We have our video, we have our pro mode right there, so we can go ahead and set our ISO, our white balance, and all that type of stuff for you photographers out there. We also have our scan, we have panorama, photo booth, tilt shift, slow motion, time lapse, and of course our dual capture in there as well. We're going to be doing a full review on this phone's camera very soon and a bunch of comparisons. So of course, stay tuned for that. Going into the Moto section right here, of course, one of the most popular things on Motorola phones and why a lot of people do like Motorola phones is of course those Moto actions. So we have the chop for flash right there. We have the twist to open the camera. We have a bunch of different Moto actions that you guys can set on here. So when you go into that Moto folder right there, go into the Moto right here, and you guys can go ahead and learn about all of those actions, and we'll go over a video and a tutorial later on if you guys need help on that. But for you that love Motorola devices, I'm sure you already know what's up. Now, next up, I do want to go ahead and test out the video on this, see how this looks. So let's go to YouTube. All right, guys, so if you want to watch a 4K video on YouTube, we do get a downscaled 1440p video right here. So we're going to go ahead and set that up. Again, we can watch 60 frames per second videos on here because we have that upgraded refresh rate on this device. So let's go ahead and see how this looks. So as far as the display goes, it does look good when watching videos. You can hardly notice any sort of darkness when you tilt it when you are watching a video, and when you're looking at it head on, it looks really good as well. I do think the AMOLED display does look better on the Galaxy A16 5G. However, this really does not look bad, and for 200 bucks, this is a really decent display. I'm still kind of salty that it's LCD, but it still looks good. And especially if you guys are wanting a Motorola device for the Moto actions and, you know, the other stuff that Motorola brings, this is definitely something that I feel like most people that like Motos can look over. All right, guys, so next up, we're going to be taking a look at the speakers on here. Again, this is going to be a stereo speaker experience on this handset. And I'm sure you guys got a little taste of what it sounded like during the video review of this, but this actually sounds really, really good. And I'll go ahead and show you guys right now. So for the tin that we receive on this, because it is going to sound a little bit tinny, the speaker is super, super loud. So if you're wanting a speaker on a sub $250 phone that's actually loud, I think this is one of the best, honestly, for that $200 price tag. This sounds really good, especially comparing this to other phones in this price range. There's not a lot of phones that are going to sound too great, and this is definitely one of the best, I have to say. There is a tiny bit of tin though, but we can't be perfect for $199. All right guys, so this was the brand new Moto G 2025 edition. I think this is a solid device thus far. I'm gonna do a full review and many other videos on this in the future. If there's any other questions you guys want to ask me in the comment section down below, go ahead and leave those comments. But so far, one word for this device: solid. For the $200 price tag, I feel like you get a decent amount of stuff on here, and this is going to be kind of a competition, honestly, these next few months between the A16 and the Moto G 2025 edition. If you guys are more of a Motorola fan, I would go with the Moto G 2025 edition. If you're more of a Samsung fan, go with the Galaxy A16. But we're going to be comparing those devices very soon. I'm sure you guys are already going to be asking me about that. But overall, solid device. I really do like the camera module setup. I think it looks very nice and dapper. I love this pleather or vegan leather back. It looks very handsome. I don't know, I just feel like Motorola with their vegan leather backs, especially with that Moto G stylus they did last year when they started it off with that on their budget devices, I think it looks really nice. I think it's something that we don't really receive in the budget arena all that much. So beautiful to see that on a budget handset from Motorola. I think it looks really good. The processor is something that we're going to look at later on in terms of like video games and stuff like that. So I'll definitely update you guys on that later on. The camera looks solid so far, but so far this device looks solid for the $199 price tag. Again, if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this video, drop a like, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified every time I upload a new video. This has been Safan from TechRight. Peace out, Tech Gang.